And away we go. All right. Should be live on YouTube, on Instagram. Looking good. Looking good, guys. We are live. All right. We're going to get warmed up. I'm going to wait for people to join the live. As we wait, I'm going to run through a couple of these clips, and we'll go from there.
Protest.
No, we won. We won.
What does your sign say?
We have the right to protest. And Trump would say no, by the way. Trump would say no.
If Trump would say no, we wouldn't be having a protest.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Well, we have a
You're
protest.
talking about ICE going over and throwing people away?
What I'm saying is we do have our right to protest. I don't believe Trump is stopping your right to protest because we're having this today.
He's trying to. Are you seeing what sort of stuff he said?
He's not here stopping it.
Are you kidding me? Trump would
Where
have to
is
be
he?
in 101. Trump would have to be in over 1,000
What's up, James?
locations to stop
How's it
these
going, buddy?
protests. These are happening
Good to
all
have
over
you.
the country today.
Just
It
got
doesn't
the
matter.
live started,
Of
waiting
course he's
for
not here to
everybody
stop
to
it.
join.
You really think that the New York City police would allow him to go over and send troops to stop this protest? This is entirely legal.
But if we had a king, we wouldn't be able to have the protest.
No, we would. We
Ghost
would.
Hunter, I agree,
We
bro.
would. The worst dictatorships in the world have protests. You don't understand that. Do you really think that a dictator, a king, is all powerful? No, they're weak. They are weak. They make a country weak. Every time that a king you realize what happened? The most recent dictators.
Dude's losing it.
Yeah, I
They
do.
died. They died in World War II, and their countries were taken over. They were weak.
But if we had a king, we wouldn't
Dude
be able
is
to have
completely
the protest.
No, we
losing it.
would. We would.
What does your sign say?
We have the right to protest. And Trump would say no, by the way. Trump would say no.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, man. It's one of my hats, dude. I sell these. I have these on the site. They're for sale. And I have some new ones coming, actually. So looking forward to those. But here we go.
I don't want them to live here. I don't want them here. They came under false pretenses. Many of them came illegally and continue to come illegally. And we don't want them here. And I'm perfectly willing to say that because it needs to be said. If I hated Australia, hated the Australian people, hated Australian history, hated the Australian way of life, broke into the country illegally and spent my time trying to undermine Australia, why should I be in Australia? Why? What would I have brought the country? What benefit? What moral benefit? What financial benefit? What social benefit? The answer is you'd have brought no benefit. So why just hope that those people are not in large enough numbers and keep your fingers crossed and put it off for another day? I think we have to start saying very clearly, if you don't like it here, go.
Yep.
And if you don't like it here and you intend to make it worse, we will make you go. We stripped citizenship from ISIS members of ISIS who, even if they had British citizenship, we stripped their passports. We need to start doing the same thing with Hamas. We have Hamas leaders in the UK, Hamas members in the UK. I'm calling on the Foreign Secretary, the Home Secretary, the Director of Public Prosecutions, the Attorney General, Prime Minister and others to start doing this, to start taking the passports away and deporting people who support Hamas in the UK.
Is there the willpower to listen?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we have a couple of choices clearly at this point. One of them is, and I say this metaphorically for the time being, but it's not that metaphorical. One is to stand up, and the other is to beg on your knees. I don't think that the British public should be on their knees begging.
I don't think so either.
Like them.
I don't think so either, bro. They
so-
need to take the country back.
Best to be on your feet. The soul of England, the soul of Britain, is about to be trampled on very, very visibly by people who are gleeful in their trampling. And they have defaced and defiled all of our holy places. And I know that the British soul is awakening and stirring with rage at what these people are doing. These people came into our house. Many of them broke into our house illegally. Many of them were never wanted here. And they have come here, they have betrayed all of our attempts at hospitality, they've spat in our faces, and now they want to trample everything we have underfoot. No. I don't want them to live here.
What's up, State Line? How's it going, bud? We've got a lot going on, man. But I'm going to do, we got a nice little session we're going to have. And I'm going to take callers too, man. I got a, by the way, State Line, I got a phone number finally. So people, you know, if they don't want to do Discord, if phone number is easier, we'll just give them a phone number to call. State Line says in the chat, he says, Starmer is a sellout, and I think the monarchy is pushing it for the impeding control they want. This is interesting. Listen to this.
The food stamps program is administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Let me ask.
He says food stamps program is administered by the, listen to this.
The food stamps program is administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They proudly report that they distribute free meals and food stamps to 46 million people on an annual basis. Meanwhile, the National Park Service, ran by the U.S. Department of Interior, ask us to please do not feed the animals when we visit the parks. Their stated reason for this policy is being that the animals will grow accustomed and dependent on the handouts, and they will never learn to take care of themselves.
Does that make any sense to you guys? Does that connect any dots? Listen to this again. This is very, very clear. And I've said this before.
The food stamps program.
They want to give handouts to people for the rest of their lives. They want to get people stuck on handouts. They want to give welfare and food stamps and whatever, honestly, any kind of welfare, to be honest with you. They want to get people stuck on welfare. But they don't want you feeding animals at the state parks, because if you feed the animals, then they get used to getting the handouts from you and they don't learn how to take care of themselves in the wilderness that they live. If you give people handouts, they won't be responsible for themselves and learn how to take care of themselves, especially when you give it to the single moms raising. If you incentivize single moms to have kids and be on government welfare, and the more kids they have and the less income they have from a father in the house, the more welfare they get. Then that is not good for that family, but it also does not set a good example for the children growing up in that and the people around them. So we have generations of this happening. Those kids growing up on welfare, learning that they can take welfare, not learning to be responsible for themselves. And then they have kids, and it's a generational, it just continues going. Let's hear this one more time.
The food stamps program is administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They proudly report that they distribute free meals and food stamps to 46 million people on an annual basis. Meanwhile, the National Park Service, ran by the U.S. Department of Interior, ask us to please do not feed the animals when we visit the parks. Their stated reason for this policy is being that the animals will grow accustomed and dependent on the handouts, and they will never learn to take care of themselves.
Damn, bro. I love how we put that together. What's up, Ruby? How you doing? How you doing? Welcome back. Let's do this. Let's go. Let's go.
Let me ask you, what percentage of the atmosphere is CO2?
What percentage of the atmosphere is CO2? I don't have that calculation for you, sir.
Maybe you could tell us what your personal guess is on what percentage of CO2.
I don't make those guesses, sir.
You're the head of the EPA and you don't know. You have all of these laws based on, you're going to get your staffer to tell you now. But you're the head of the EPA and you did not know.
If you didn't catch it, she just looked back to her staffer to get the information.
Well,
What percentage, and now you are basing policies that impact dramatically on the American people, and you didn't even know what the content of CO2 in the atmosphere was, which is the justification for the very policies you're talking about?
If you're asking me how much CO2 is in the atmosphere, not a percentage, but how much, we have just reached levels of 400 parts per million.
I think I was very clear what I was asking, and I was very clear you didn't know. Let me ask you if CO2, from what I have understand, is only 1/2 of 1/10 of 1% of the atmosphere.
1/2 of 1/10 of 1% of the atmosphere.
And you believe that this minimal, tiny element, and by the way, only 10% of that, from what I understand, is actually man-made. And of course, whatever you're suggesting and is being suggested as the basis for creating these what we consider draconian controls is that 1/10 that is man-made of the 1/2 of 1/10 of 1/2 of 1%, that will have an impact on the weather to the point that it will actually impact people's health. Let me ask you, what percentage?
Let me just look at that beginning one more time. Sorry.
What percentage of the atmosphere
What's up, random?
is CO2?
What percentage of the atmosphere is CO2? I don't have that calculation for you, sir.
Maybe you could tell us what your personal guess is on what percentage of the CO2.
I don't make those guesses, sir.
You're
She
the
looks
head of
back,
the
watch.
EPA, you don't know.
Right here.
You have
Right
all
here.
of these laws based on, oh, you're going to get your staffer to tell you now. But you're the head of the EPA.
Oh, man.
I'm just so scared. I'm 74 years old. I worry about.
When you are watching too much CNN and MSNBC, this is what happens to you.
I'm just so scared. I'm 74 years old. I worry about everything, and I just am so scared and upset, and I don't understand why people didn't vote for this person. I'm just so scared.
About what? I don't know. Specifically, what is happening? I couldn't tell you.
What if we made people pay us for using their own money? Yeah. Look, they work all year, and we take 1/3 of that shit for no reason. On God, it's genius. On God. We can have people hire people to have to tell them what the fuck is even going on, and they're still not gonna know. Cause we can really tax these niggas on everything if you think about it. You make money, tax. You spend money, tax. You save money, tax. You fucking die, nigga, tax. Who gives a fuck? It's genius. We can make broke people pay the most. You bought a car, tax. You drive the car, tax. You park the car, tax. Everything. Oh, you bought a house? That's crazy.
What up, Truth?
Oh, you just made some bread? That's crazy. Give me some. It's not stealing if we give them a receipt. We'll call it tax, but it's really just a subscription to society.
Oh, probably that music, bro. I just missed that music, I bet.
If you don't like it in this country, then fuck off. If you don't like us waving our flags and being proud to be British, then fuck off. Go to a country that wants you. Oh, they don't want you. That's the problem. So you all come over here because you know you can live high on the fucking hog. And the illegal immigrants coming over here. And when I read about we're spending 60 million a year on private medical cover for them. I'd like to have private medical cover, but I can't afford it. And I'm still paying bloody taxes at the age of 84 years of age. Have they paid a penny in taxes, those illegals? Not a fucking penny. Living high on the fucking hog in really good accommodation. What they should be doing is putting them into detention centres like we did in the Second World War with the German prisoners. Put them in detention centres across this country. Give them the bare fucking minimum and they'd be treated respectfully and that's it. But they'd have the bare minimum. Food, lodgings and that's it. And they'd be quickly assessed. And if they're not fucking suitable to come into this country, which 95% of them wouldn't be, then boot them out, and I don't care where you send them. I really don't give a shit. Because I'm sick and tired of what's
Straight
happening.
up.
I'm worried about the future of the country, and you should be too. If you don't like it in this country, then fuck off.
Straight up, bro. Just like that. Oh, I like that one. That's a good one, dude. All right, we got this beautiful gem right here. Miss Purple Hair. Mrs. Purple Hair in Congress, dude. I forgot where she's from. Maine, I think it is. Holy cow, bro. What a disaster. Aquarium's Truth says he got his peptides, bro. Which peptides did you get? I'm on peptides too, bro. I'm on peptides too, bro.
It's really so critical. And I want to
Here we go. Here we go.
Committee, Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro.
Rosa DeLauro.
So much, Mr. Leader, for convening this press event today, and on this particular issue, which is really so critical. And I want to.
Let me try to turn this up a little bit. Hold on. Hang on. Let's try to turn this bad boy up. Let's go like this.
Say a thank you to my colleague Angie Craig, and as the ranking member on agriculture. Thank you for your expertise. Thank you for your leadership on this very, very
We are
critical
not
issue
sure,
that we're
Random.
talking
It
about
could be
today.
anything at this point, dude.
I want to start by making
Your guess is
one
good as ours.
thing abundantly clear. What President Trump is doing on the hunger issue and on the nutrition issue is immoral. I am the ranking member on the Appropriations Committee, and I promise you that there is funding available to provide SNAP benefits beyond November 1st. There is, at the very least, over $5 billion in contingency funds that Congress set aside. Congress, Democrats and Republicans, set aside explicitly to pay out SNAP benefits in the event of some unforeseen circumstances, like President Trump's shutdown. They are, in fact, by doing this, in violation of the Empowerment Control Act.
Andy
of
Warhol,
1974.
dude. Literally. Trans Andy Warhol, bro. Damn. You make my Andy Warhol watches look bad, bro. That's what these are. You know that, right? These are the Andy Warhol, the ones I love. These are the OG Andy Warhol PJs.
The contingency funding that we set aside for SNAP is not optional spending.
Don't ruin Andy Warhol for me, State Line.
It is required by the law. We appropriated that money for this purpose. The White House must spend it, and what they are doing right now, blocking these funds from going out, is illegal. As a matter of fact, on October 1st, they took $750 million from this fund.
Why don't you stop yapping and go vote and put the CR in place and fund the government like you should be doing, bro?
To deal with paying benefits in Puerto Rico and providing administrative costs to other states. So they acknowledge that this fund can be used in order to deal with SNAP benefits. There was nothing stopping the Trump administration from making sure that every single one of the 42 million Americans, 16 million children.
What up? Elmo says Trandy Warhol.
8 million
Oh my
seniors,
God, bro.
4 million people with disabilities, 1.2 million veterans received nutrition assistance in November. And we are at a cost of living crisis with skyrocketing food costs. And President Trump is doing right now is using the fear that so many working people have about where their next meal is coming from as a political bargaining chip. Does anyone actually believe for 1 second that if President Trump really wanted to cover the SNAP benefits, they would not be able to find the money? When he wanted to bail out his buddy in Argentina, they found $40 billion. When he wanted to build a new ballroom to host his billionaire donors, they found $350 million. They found the money. When he wanted to make sure his Homeland Security Secretary could fly in style on 2 new luxury private jets, they found the money, $172 million. But now, when it comes to making sure hungry families can put food on the table,
Random, it's everything, bro. It's a whole package with this one, bro. It's unreal.
all of a sudden, they can't find
It's the epitome of the Portland, whatever you call them, bro. I don't even know what they call them anymore.
And what it costs us every month is $8 billion. And I saw the secretary, Rollins, this afternoon saying it's at 9.2. I'm trying to find out where she got that number. It's $8 billion to cover SNAP dollars. Is that right, Angie? Right. Angie knows these numbers by heart. She's now talking about 9.2. False. And that there is no, they have, with the snap of a finger, that money can be released and get to people who need it. So if there's between $5 and $6 billion, we may be $2 billion short, but that's enough to get us into November until what we're doing, and then we can look to deal with the rest of it. The Trump administration is more than happy to cut backroom deals. They want to dole favors out to the highest bidders. It's a shame that 16 million children who rely on SNAP benefits did not shell out a hefty donation to the president's inaugural fund. But they're only kids, after all. House Republicans are still on vacation. We have not voted on any legislation in over a month. But if they were here, I doubt that they would object to the president's.
Dude, this is the same one I made this clip right here of, dude. Look at this. This is the same clip. Remember this kid that had cancer that she just stood there? Look at this. She just sat there, didn't do nothing. Look at this is the here. You remember that? You remember that, dude? What a disaster, bro. Look, here.
That the only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump and his MAGA Republican friends.
The Democratic brand is toxic right now.
American border problems won't be fixed until Congress acts. If we don't pass my comprehensive immigration reform, at least pass my plan to provide the equipment and officers to secure the border.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
The Democratic brand is toxic right now.
We all remember that.
Not just because they are too cowardly to stand up to him under any circumstances, but because decimating food stamps, is what they have wanted all along. Their big, beautiful bill, as the leader has pointed out, and his signature piece of legislation slashes SNAP funding by $189 billion. That will strip 22 million Americans of some or all of their nutrition assistance.
This goes back to this clip that we just saw right here. You remember this? Let's play it one more time for those that are just joining. Here you go.
The Food Stamps program is administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
He says the food stamps program is administered by the Department of Agriculture. Listen.
The Food Stamps program is administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They proudly report that they distribute free meals and food stamps to 46 million people on an annual basis. Meanwhile, the National Park Service, ran by the U.S. Department of Interior, ask us to please do not feed the animals when we visit the parks. Their stated reason for this policy is being that the animals will grow accustomed and dependent on the handouts, and they will never learn to take care of themselves.
Exactly.
Over 10 years. Let me just conclude by saying to you that does anybody believe there is a shortage of food in the United States of America? Anyone who believes that? No. We have an abundance of food here in this country. And the president is required by law to use the remaining money in the contingency fund that Congress appropriated. It's not up for debate. He has the broad authority to transfer funds beyond that to cover the program. If he does not do so, it is because he chooses to not do it. It may be because they don't care about feeding hungry families. I don't deal with food insecurity as a phrase. This is about hungry people. people going hungry in the United States when we have an abundance of food in this country. This is not a game, it's people's lives. We're the wealthiest nation in the world, as I said, with the abundance of food, and no one, not an adult, not a child, not a senior, not a veteran, should go hungry in the United States. Under President Trump and Republicans' failed leadership.
In the chat, Marlon says the people removed from EBT are able to work, are able working body Americans, right? For the most part, yes.
It is just one crisis after.
For the most part, yes. And for the most part, the single moms that are on that welfare program, getting money for having babies and getting rid of their fathers of those children, those they don't need to get incentivized to get rid of the fathers. They could learn how to keep their fathers in the home and raise their kids. They're getting incentivized to get the income of their fathers out of the home so they can get money from the government.
Another. Open enrollment for health insurance begins in 4 days. They have not addressed the health care crisis they created. President Trump and the Republicans should return to Washington. End the shutdown. Vacation is over. We are here, we are working, and we are ready whenever they decide to join us. Let me turn it over now to the really indefatigable and will be chair of the not appropriations, of the Authorization Committee, Angie Craig from Minnesota.
Well, thank you so much, Rosa, and thank you.
And Democrats continue to make clear that we will sit down with our Republican colleagues anytime, any place, here at the Capitol or back at the White House, in order to reopen the government, enact a bipartisan spending agreement that actually meets the needs of the American people, and address the health care crisis that Republicans have caused that is devastating people all across the country, in working class America, rural America, urban America, small town America, the heartland of America, and black and brown communities throughout America, particularly at this point, given the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax.
I definitely agree with State Line. State Line says, that's why I say there should be job vacancies for the jobs only illegals will supposedly do. Maybe it's time we stop being so entitled, arrogant, and spiteful of earning a hard day's work. For some reason, Democrats demonize people earning a hard day's work. That's where you got to start somewhere. You got to do something. You got to go make money. You got to have responsibility. It's good for you.
That will cause.
It makes you feel better about yourself. It makes you raise a good family. That's a good example. And you got to turn this around.
Premiums, copays, and deductibles to increase by tens of millions of people by thousands of dollars per year. At the same time, Republicans are now threatening to weaponize hunger against the American people and withhold funding for nutritional assistance for children and seniors and veterans and women. This is on top of the fact that in the one big ugly bill that Republicans passed in July, in addition,
Daniel Napper in the chat says women are a huge burden on the government. He says welfare, food stamps, Section 8 housing, Medicare. I think the government has created a system where single mothers are, being incentivized to get the government's money, to take our tax dollars. You could say it's their fault, whether it's their fault or it's our own fault for putting these policies in place. It's happening, and it's not helping anybody. It's not helping them. It's not helping their children. It's not helping those fathers that are giving that are the fathers of those children, where the mothers are learning that they can get money and say, I don't need no man in the house. And so it all adds up to the same thing. They get the welfare, they get Section 8, housing, they get all kinds of stuff. And then the kids grow up, not having a father in the home, learning that they could live off the government. And it just over generation just goes down. Gets worse and worse. I think we dug ourselves into this hole.
To a nearly $1 trillion cut to Medicaid. Republicans enacted the largest cut to SNAP in American history. $186 billion cut. They ripped food from the mouths of children, seniors, veterans, women, and families in order to provide massive tax breaks to their billion.
Be honest, you're upset because of the cuts of USAID, and you guys are not going to be able to benefit from these wacky, crazy USAID, crazy garbage that you guys had in place. What was it? Some kind of like training for LGBTQ in Uganda or some weird I don't know. You can't even nobody even knows what these things were. Even when you ask them, they don't know what these things were. So it's just a bizarre thing. They're upset for the defunding of their USAID bullshit that was going to them indirectly through like their spouses, their husbands and wives and all that crap. So Uganda trained the QC.
Donors. It's completely and totally unacceptable. And on top of that, now they are threatening to withhold funding that the Trump administration has in a contingency fund in ways that will deprive everyday, hard-working American taxpayers of the nutritional assistance they need to put food on the table. It's now my honor to yield to the top Democrat on the Appropriations Committee, Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dude's eyes are dead for sure, bro. I agree. In the chat, you were saying that. Jen in the chat says Democrats are using Americans suffering to fund money back to USAID and medical benefits for people we are actually trying to deport. Literally, bro. And then Daniel Napper says prisons. This is interesting. I like how he worded this. This is another way of putting it together. Prisons are full of single mother kids. It's been an abysmal failure. Give single fathers a chance. Can't be worse.
So much, Mr. Leader, for convening this press event today and on this particular issue, which is really so critical. And I want to say a thank you to my colleague,
throughout the shutdown the last month
she
or so,
comes back to the podium.
Appropriators have still continued to work on the 12 appropriations bills. Can you talk about what that work has looked like as lawmakers have been off the Hill? How have your members been able to engage with Republican appropriators in both the House and Senate?
Sure. When we, when the four of us sat down, Congressman Cole, Senators Murray and Collins and myself, that's really now over a month ago, and we came together and we talked about 2 or 3 things. One of them was that what we needed to do was to have the top lines for the agriculture, interior, and the military construction bill. The second thing, and we agreed that we would do that, so we had a number to work to. The second thing was that we would do a bipartisan.
Random in the chat says children, says here, Random says single fathers don't suffer from the same stats. Children of single fathers tend to go on to be well-adjusted and successful. And I'm going to possibly add some clarity to what you said, Random. I think what you're saying is children that grow up with their children that grow up in the home of their single fathers go on to be well-adjusted and successful. I think that's what you meant, right?
Bipartisan continuing resolution. A bipartisan continuing resolution. And that would...
Yep, okay, that's what I thought. And then Aquarium says, I'm a single father, and my 1-year-old has hit all her 3-year milestones except the speech ones. Dads just do it better. Dude, it's there are stats out there that literally confirm what you guys just said. Children that grow up in their single fathers' homes outperform children that grow up in their single mothers' homes.
Include two.
It's just the reality of the situation.
One of which was to take into consider Democratic priorities, because all of the bills that we had seen were just unilaterally partisan. And amongst those Democratic priorities was the issue of health care.
Yes, I agree. Random says mothers are still important. Absolutely, mothers are still important. Not downplaying that at all, but it's a statistical fact that children growing up in the father's home outperform children growing in the mother's home. It's just a reality.
And the premium subsidies and the Medicaid cuts. It's $1 trillion and the skyrocketing costs that are now upon people at this very, very moment. And the other thing that we spoke about, and there was a consensus about this, that what we needed to do was in the future, when the appropriators came to a conclusion, that would stick, and that we wouldn't have any unelected bureaucrats.
Dude, I love what Aquarium said. That is badass, dude. Listen to this. Aquarium in the chat says, "It's 'cause I never coddled her." He's talking about his daughter. "I gave her a 5-minute struggle timer, and she almost always figures it out. And I'm sure over time she learns how to figure it out even faster and faster." That's awesome, bro. I love that. That's really good, dude. State line, nature versus nurture. And as far as boys are concerned, a woman can't teach a boy how to become a man.
Who were saying, no, money's going here, money's going there, everywhere.
Le Greek is back. What's up, dude? How you doing? We're trying to figure out, bro. Is this a him, a her, a they, a them, a z, a zer? We don't know, bro.
Except for where it was appropriate. We had consensus about that. Not a few days later, on the table, bang. This is a Republican continuing resolution, and therefore that's what it is. In the meantime, yes, staff in both the House and the Senate have worked on those 3 bills, and I would just say they have made progress on the bills. But the issue now is coming to the table to be able to deal with the continuing resolution and the issues that have been central to that, which is cutting the costs and canceling the cuts and saving America's health care. Now, you may want to ask, what does that have to do with the bill? Well, the continuing resolution is 91 pages. 67 of those pages are about health care and so forth. So it is the appropriate conversation, and given that those notices are going out now, that we need to deal with it now. So we are waiting for them to come to the table to reopen the government, and honestly, if we can get my 3 other colleagues, we would move on appropriations bills. But they have refused to come to the table since the outset of this debate.
Oh my God. In the chat, Chris says, anyone remember that movie, The Dark Crystal? No, I don't. But R in the chat, I don't know his name, but R or her name, R in the chat says, she looks like a Star Trek character that didn't make the cut, bro. Damn. David says, could be a Peterson lesbian, as Jesse Lee would say. Someone else here in the chat, what was it? Where did they say that they're close to having both mothers in the home? Anyway, I'll find it.
And Donald Trump and Republicans have taken a my way or the highway approach from
Both
the very beginning of this Congress.
Oh, Daniel Napper says, spitting facts. He says, single father homes equivalent to 2-parent households. There's that's debatable, and I think that there's something to be said about children being raised with their single fathers versus in a home with both mother and father. Now, of course, the nuclear family, it is going to be the best situation, in my opinion. But when you have a single father raising a child versus a single mother raising a child, The single father, typically, as Aquarium's just stated, the way he raises his child, it's less coddling, a little more. You learn how to figure out your problems on your own. A little more tough love, a little more responsibility, less coddling. Again, we repeat that. That's the theme. And if you have that from a single father home versus where you have a nuclear family where the father's trying to do that, but the mother is heavily coddling a child, you could see where being raised with a single father that's not coddling versus being raised in a nuclear family where the mother is overwhelmingly coddling, there can be, some advantages to the single father, right, raising the child.
And we've maintained, led by Rosa DeLauro, that we want to sit down and negotiate a bipartisan spending agreement, now reopen the government, but at the same period of time, address the Republican health care crisis, which has been devastating on everyday Americans and hardworking American taxpayers throughout this year, including the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. Hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers closing because of Republican policies and their one big ugly bill throughout America, including in rural parts of the country. The American people now confront the possibility of a $536 billion cut to Medicare because of what Republicans did in their one big ugly bill if Congress doesn't act by the end of this year, and now because Republicans refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, tens of millions of Americans right now are receiving notices as we approach open enrollment on November 1st, indicating to them that their premiums are going to skyrocket in ways that will make it unaffordable for them to see a doctor when they need to see one, when their children needs to see one, when their family members need to see one. This is a health care crisis that Republicans have visited on the American people.
This guy naturally, just in his natural state, is ready for Halloween, bro.
And it has to be dealt
He looks like a Walking Dead zombie,
with
bro.
decisively.
It's like nothing's going on in there.
We're now heading into a SNAP crisis. As Angie Craig and Rosa DeLauro have so powerfully articulated, that is a man-made
Cheryl says he
Republican
looks stoned.
crisis.
He looks stoned, and he looks like he's on some serious prescription meds, dude.
Because Donald Trump has decided that he wants to force millions of Americans, including possibly 16 million children, to experience hunger so they can continue their my way or the highway approach toward driving their right-wing extreme agenda down the throats of the American people. Unacceptable.
Mr. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Today is the first day air traffic controllers will go without a paycheck. You're speaking about SNAP right now. We also have questions around how troops are going to get paid. At the crux of
I hear a beta.
your fight against the Republican bill is the ACA. Are you concerned that these other issues, these other pressing issues like SNAP, the air traffic controllers not getting paid, troops not getting paid, are you concerned that that will start to dominate the conversation or dominate the consciousness of America, that the ACA conversation kind of gets pushed to the wayside?
Well, we've made clear from the very beginning that we want to enact a bipartisan spending agreement that meets the needs of the American people.
I agree with Chris, bro.
That
The mustache would do it, for
improves
sure.
their quality of life, that drives down the high cost of living here in this country, where costs haven't gone down, as Trump promised on day one, costs have gone up.
Trendy Warhol,
And
bro.
we set
my
out
God.
from the very beginning in September that we want to reach a spending agreement that's bipartisan, that meets the needs of the American people in three areas: their health, their safety, and their economic well-being. And that, of course, includes making sure that they can put food on the table in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. Donald Trump and Republicans have launched an all-out assault on the American people from the very beginning of this presidency.
By the way, guys, I'm taking callers. If anyone wants to call in, let me know. We'll put you on live.
And it's cruel, and it's punitive, and it's hurting everyday American. We want to reopen the government Republicans in the House have been on vacation now for 5 consecutive weeks. They've canceled votes for 5 consecutive weeks. This is extraordinary. If we reached an agreement, they wouldn't even be here to pass one because they want to keep the government closed. And we're just going to continue to urge them to come to the negotiating table so we can reach the type of bipartisan spending agreement that the American people deserve.
Let's get another take from what this guy's saying. Watch this.
Yeah, we haven't shut the government down. Donald Trump is the president. Republicans control the House and the Senate. And what we've repeatedly made clear is that we would not support a partisan Republican spending bill.
And this is CNBC, okay? Watch this.
That continues to gut the health care of the American people in an environment where Republicans already enacted the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. Hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing because of Republican policies in their one big ugly bill all across the country. Medicare is facing a $536 billion cut at the end of the year unless Congress acts, again connected to the one big ugly bill. And now Republicans are refusing to even consider extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits when open enrollment starts on November 1st. This is a now issue.
But Leader Jeffries, you kind of conflated a spending bill with a clean CR. It's only 24 pages. It keeps the government open at this point. And the House passed it. It's ready to go. The Senate has it. I know that the Republicans control everything, but you know how the filibuster works. And God forbid Republicans, fold on the filibuster because it'll be used, both parties will use it against the other. It's one of the last safeguards that make the Senate different than the House. And the only reason the Senate can't do it is purely because of Democrats. And you had one of your colleagues in the Senate say this is the only leverage we have.
You see that? This is CNBC telling him straight to his face, it's because of the Democrats.
We're going to get hurt. This is the only leverage we have to get what we want on health care. That's a bad look.
It's a bad look, bro. You got called out by your own side.
To add to that, look,
So this is a setup that kind of your own creation that you all couldn't extend beyond that. Now you want the Republicans to do. So this is a setup that kind of your own creation that you all couldn't extend beyond that. Now you want the Republicans to do something you didn't do when you were in power?
It's not a setup beyond what we could do. We extended the Affordable Care Act tax credits in 2022 for 3 years. The program is working. It's providing health care to tens of millions of people in an affordable way, and it should be continued. It's interesting to us.
Call-in topic is really whatever you want to talk about, but Random made one up right here. He says, why does the left's left a low average IQ? We could talk about healthcare we could talk about welfare. We could talk about children being raised in single households. We could talk about the government shutdown. We could talk about people getting money for kicking out their baby daddies.
That Republicans decided that
people getting hooked on welfare and never learning how to get out there and make it on their own.
They would prefer to permanently extend massive.
We could talk about ICE and deportations. We could talk about all the border. We could talk all kinds of
tax breaks for their billionaire donors in their one big ugly bill, which also at the same time dramatically increased the debt and enacted the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, but refused to consider extending Affordable Care Act tax credits that actually benefit working class Americans, everyday Americans, and middle class Americans. Their priorities are misplaced. And as Democrats, we're going to continue to fight for the American people.
So this is a setup that kind of your own creation that you all.
Timu Obama, bro.
All right, let's turn to Capitol Hill for the latest on the government shutdown, now in its 24th day. Joining us right now is House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries of New York. Leader, thank you for being with us this morning. I think the big question is, how do we get out of this? Setup for this, for these, the 3-year setup for the expiration of these credits was intentionally put in. It was put in when you controlled the White House, the House, and the Senate. You couldn't get it passed for longer. And so this is a setup that kind of your own.
I agree, Hans. He looks way better in a sombrero, a mustache, a beard, a this, a something, bro. Maybe he needs a medication hat, bro. Something, dude.
Creation that you all couldn't extend beyond that. Now you want the Republicans to do something you didn't do when you were in power?
What's up,
It's not a
Chasing?
setup,
David?
beyond what we could do. We extended the Affordable Care Act tax credits in 2022 for 3 years. The program.
David says, I thought the Republicans were in charge. What happened? You guys are not in charge? Republicans are in charge, but you need the Democrats to vote.
Is working. It's providing health care to tens of millions of people in an affordable way, and it should be continued. It's interesting to us that Republicans decided that they would prefer to.
James Langford from Oklahoma, he's a Republican, and his concern with this was that the ACA subsidies aren't helping bring costs down overall. He said that in his state, Oklahoma, if you look over 6 years from 2013 to 2019, premiums for ACA plans were up by 200% versus premiums being up by 29% for commercial plans in his state. His concern is that there's something that needs to be fixed within this. Some of the things he threw out would be things like limiting fraud by just requiring that there be at least a $20 premium or some premium that's put down instead of zero premium so that people get enrolled in things without even knowing that they're enrolled in some of these programs. What do you say to that?
We've made clear.
Jen in the chat replied and said, the Republicans hold more seats, but the vote needs a majority of 60 to pass. Democrats are filibustering to prevent it from passing.
In the House that we
need the Democrat votes, bro. We can't do it without that. David says, oh, how you guys move the goalpost, man. How you guys move the goalpost, man. When you don't get your way, wow, how you guys move the goalpost, not goalpost. It's a goalpost. The Republicans are in charge. You'd act or you didn't need the liberals. No, bro, you got to wake up and learn how the government works, and then maybe try listening to a different media outlet other than CNN.
will consider anything that emerges from the Senate in good faith in a bipartisan way that both reopens the government while at the same time addresses this healthcare crisis and extends the Affordable Care Act tax credits in a meaningful way.
If you want to call in, bro, we can talk about the gold post, bro. We can talk about a gold. I think he's trying to say Donald Trump has a gold post, bro.
Now that people are looking at what their health care costs are going to go up. November 1st, when people...
The Halloween Wicked Witch is back.
I was with on Friday. What's happening Friday? Now.
A young woman in my district, Renee, who I was with on Friday. She got
Getting rent a state line, bro.
$1,000 per month. $24,000 a year for health insurance. Can anybody here pay for that?
It's your Obamacare, bro.
She can't.
It's your Obamacare.
Her husband is gravely ill. He doesn't have insurance, etc. This is a real story.
I'm going back and forth because we've listened to parts of this and we're going and looking at different parts of it because, there's a lot of just repetition and stuff going on here. But we did listen to a lot of this already if you're just joining.
But I would say to you that on the food stamp issue, the money is there. Let us not let them get away with saying that they can't do it. They have their political will isn't there to feed the people who rely on the SNAP program, which is the most effective anti-hunger program in the United States of America.
So go
They
vote.
play fast and loose
So go vote.
with people eating. Can
So
you
go
imagine
vote.
that? But that's the reality.
So
And
go
we need
vote.
to talk about that. They just talked to states about not wanting to reimburse. My state of Connecticut yesterday is putting up $3 million. They want to know if they can get reimbursed. This administration. You know what's
But the only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump and his MAGA Republican friends.
The Democratic brand is toxic right now.
American border problems won't
Look
be
at
fixed
this,
until
dude.
Congress acts.
reimbursement
If we don't pass my comprehensive immigration reform, at least pass my plan to provide the equipment and officers to secure the border.
At its core, and we cannot let them get away with it.
How is that, dude?
So we're almost.
Dang, bro, look at
The original Democratic CR to expire. Can we expect to see a new Democratic CR with a new date and any other potential policy changes?
I'm gonna go over here. We gotta listen to this right here. This is nuts.
I would like to reiterate the thanks for your time here at the University of Austin. What I wanted to ask you was, you speak of Islamophobia and classes like Black Studies as phony ideological things, but I was curious as to what makes them different. What makes white supremacy different, or like Islamophobia so different from anti-Semitism, as there, we did import many African slaves that died in the millions, and so did South American countries even more so. We did force Native Americans on forced marches and genocide. There are Muslims being massacred in China today. So what makes anti-Semitism so different?
Two things. One is we have reckoned in America and in Western European countries, we've had a great reckoning with our past. We've addressed the fact that we engaged in slavery, we fought a war, we ended it. We had segregation, we had another major fight, we ended it. We had the civil rights movement. We brought women out of, and by the way, in fighting for all of those emancipations, the people who were heading these fights were constantly quoting from the Bible. They were believing Christians and they were inspired by their Christianity. So number one, we had that reckoning. Number two, anti-Semitism is the oldest hatred in humanity, and you find it, believe it or not, across the entire world. What made the West different after they nearly exterminated their Jews was to have that honest look in the mirror and reckon with what they did. And then those campaigns to end it. Islamophobia is a made-up word. It's made up by a political movement that wants to exploit and capitalize on white guilt to achieve its end goal, which is the revival of the caliphate. And the revival of the caliphate is to convert all of us into Islam, whether we like it or not. Those of us who refuse to do that, we will surely be beheaded. I'm sure I'm on top. And that is their end goal. And so they're exploiting these Western part of subversion. This is just a guest speech, but I wish that at some point, someone here could start a lecture series on subversion, on active measures, on asymmetric warfare. That would get you interested in what it is that the Islamists are doing and how they've become so successful against these great nations with this incredible military and economic structures, and yet the Islamists are winning. Islam is spreading. They're doing better today than they were doing in 2001 after they hit us and we invaded Afghanistan. They've got Afghanistan back. They have Iraq back. They have Syria. And these Muslim governments are they're shaking in their boots. They're worried about what could happen to them because of the Islamist movement, and that's why the Islamist movement came here. And they're exploiting principles like freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, and so on. And of course, these progressive movements that we have here, we've got to understand that, and we've got to become really creative in finding a way of preserving our principles. I don't want to give up on the freedom of speech, but on the other hand, on beating the Islamists at their game.
Is there room for compromise between principles?
If I want to kill you and behead you, unless you convert to the religion I dictate, what would be the place of compromise?
Well, I would not mind converting, as I myself am an agnostic, so have no faith, have no established faith. However, I understand that some people would not share that vision. So,
let's play with this thought for a while. There's a time and a place for everything, and for some of the people, say in places like Africa, we don't talk about this, but Islamists are active in Africa and violently so. If you're a Christian in Egypt or a Hindu in parts of Pakistan, and you have someone looking at you and saying, you'll either lose your head or you convert to Islam, it makes sense to consider converting to Islam. But here today, for us to have the attitude of, well, we'll see what happens, and if we get to that point, I'll just convert, I will say, are you sure? Maybe you want to get educated on what would happen once you convert. What would your life be like, and the life of your sisters and women? What would they do to the Jews? He has said, this man, I repeat it, he said they're bacteria and they're microbes. And in the video that I showed you, they made it very clear it has nothing to do with Palestine. It has everything to do with them being Jewish. So they are going to annihilate the Jews. Will you stand by and watch that? Maybe I should give Introduction to Islam and Islamism as a lecture series, and once you understand what it's all about, you might develop a backbone.
I would look forward to that greatly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey.
Okay, Theo already started my question, but my question is inspired by what Jesus says in the Sermon on the Mount about blessed are the peacemakers. So we see in human nature a desire to scapegoat, right? And you're arguing that the Jews are being, there's a movement, or there's something that is trying to present Jews as the scapegoat, right? You talk about two important forces, maybe the Islam nation state, which is like a political power, which is a threat, but then also this, like, you talk about this network.
Susie, who are you talking to, and what is incorrect? What exactly is incorrect?
Like,
I'm curious.
Mosques all over the place, and these, communities, and all, it's infiltrating America and the West. So if we don't,
Susie, offense is not given; it's taken. It's up to you to choose to have offense.
want to fall into our natural tendency to scapegoat and just become, instead of moving from anti-Semitism to anti-Islamicism.
I think it was Elmo that told us that. Offense is not given, it's taken.
And our goal is to be
And nobody cares if you're offended or not, by the way.
peacemakers. Then how do we do that?
If you have something to say, say it. We don't care about offense or feelings or, oh, that hurt my feelings. Oh, I can't believe you used words. You use dialogue and speak your point. Tell us what you don't agree with.
But at the end of your last question, you framed it as a...
Or what you think are lies, because you said something's not true.
Violent struggle, right? If it's a violent struggle, then who is our enemies and what do we do?
Right after 9/11, you were probably not born. How old were you on 9/11?
I was born in 2004.
2004, so before you. So right after 9/11, 2001, when we were having these discussions about how to...
Susie says, well, in the chat, she says, well, you may have misrepresent my faith. I have a right to defend what I believe. First of all, I didn't say anything. The speaker that's on is the one that was speaking. Second of all, again, you're saying words and you're not explaining your point. So say what you think she lied about or what was not true.
Treat this enemy that wasn't...
You blatantly came out and said it really fast as if you knew exactly what she said that was not true. So you should be able to quickly tell us right now what she said that you believe was not true, since you took it upon yourself to be offended by it as well. You should easily and quickly be able to type that and tell us what is not true.
A state, but that was determined to destroy us. Some of the discussions were, but we can't do this because of the Constitution. We can't do that because of the Constitution. We can't do this.
Tamara, exactly. She blames us because the video offended her. If you don't convert, you would be beheaded. Is it not? Isn't that not what it is?
And a very frustrated judge or Justice Posner said, the Constitution is not...
Isn't that what Muslims have done? That's something that they have actually done for people not converting.
A suicide pact. So I don't think there is.
Let me take it back a
there's
hair
a lot of.
because
We can't do that.
What do we do?
Right after 9/11, you were probably not born. How old were you on 9/11?
I was born in 2004.
2004. So yeah, so before you. So right after 9/11, 2001, when we were having these discussions about how to treat this enemy that wasn't a state, but that was determined to destroy us. Some of the discussions were, but we can't do this because of the Constitution. We can't do that because of the Constitution. We can't do this because... And a very frustrated judge or Justice Posner said, the Constitution is not a suicide pact. So I don't think there is...
I hate to keep pausing it, but I'm just responding. So Susie says, if you don't even... I'm sorry. She says, if you even ask that, then I know where you stand. Are you trying to give me like a guilt trip or give someone in the chat a guilt trip, or you're trying to like make someone feel like a certain way? I know where you stand. Nobody cares what you think about where people stand. Just explain yourself. That's all we care about. We're just having dialogue. So nobody really cares. Nobody feels guilty, and we don't need you to help us feel a certain way about ourselves. Just explain yourself. You're talking about what the speaker on the screen was saying. The speaker on the screen was saying, if basically what she was saying is, if you don't convert into Islam, they, as someone else in the chat just explained to you, that's in the book of Surah, they will, here, let me read it to you. The murder of a non-believer in the book of Surah, convert, pay, or die. That's the reality. It's in the book, bro. Like, I don't know. It's reality. You want to argue with facts, or you want to argue with what is actual Islam? That's on you.
There's a lot of space between committing suicide and doing what the young man here said, is to let it just all happen. And I mean, when the time comes, I guess we will convert or we'll deal with it, whatever. And really looking at and studying openly, which we haven't been able to do because we've been self-censoring, and I gave you that list of all the different ways in which we underestimated the Islamist movement. But if we were to estimate it the right way, I will say in our history in America, it's not the first time that we are fighting an ideology that wants to destroy us. Communism, just the other day, not so long ago, most of us lived through it. And you call it a Cold War here, but in Africa and in other parts of the world, it wasn't cold, it was hot. And we starved and all of it. So there were very good reasons for the United States and Western countries to fight the ideology of communism. And they developed a number of, I'd say, tools to recognize it when it's applying internal subversive methods and when it's coming from an external position. And we can reapply those, but we do have to identify Islamism and Islamists as the enemy that they are and give them the full respect. You asked me to identify and you asked me to define what is an enemy. It's a force that wants to destroy you. How do I know that? In this infrastructure of mosques and madrasas and Islamic centers, etc., they say it explicitly. So there is something about don't listen to me, don't listen to the analysts with PhDs and the like. Listen to them and what they say and take it at their word.
So does this come down to a like propaganda war? Like we just...
Well, she just said it. I guess she kind of responded to someone that, like Susie, is saying, what do you mean? I don't understand. So you could hear what she said. She says, take them at their word. Susie says, I'm not qualified to speak on this, but I know what you like to think about Islam is your prerogative. I don't care about what you and others think. I'm proud to be a Muslim. Yeah, you could be proud to be a Muslim. But what she's saying, I mean, it sounds very true to what I understand.
Something about don't listen to me, don't listen to the analysts.
So listen to what she says right now. She says, don't listen to me, don't listen to the analysts. Listen to this.
The like, listen to them and what they say. they say it explicitly. So there is something about don't listen to me, don't listen to the analysts with PhDs and the like. Listen to them and what they say and take it at their word.
So does this come?
Yeah, I again, guys, I grew up in Southern California. I'm a product of immigrants. My parents are from Iran. I'm of Persian descent, and I grew up out here in Southern California around all shapes and sizes of people, all religions. I've even had Muslim friends that were best friends of mine. I still have tons of friends. I've actually been to a mosque multiple times as a kid, going and hanging out with my friends that were Muslim and that they had to go to a mosque, and they were doing they were fasting, breaking their fast during the, what do you call it, the Ramadan. And so I've been exposed to quite a bit of Islam, to be honest with you. I had a grandmother that was praying 5 times a day. So I have a decent understanding of it. Never read the Quran. I'm not, I don't speak, I don't read Arabic, and I don't look at the Farsi translation. I don't read Farsi either. But, you know, everyone that practices Islam, I think, kind of practices in their own kind of way. But if you're like a more serious Muslim or Islamist or whatever you want to call it, like hardcore, extremist or what it is, if you take the writings, you know, for what they say, exactly verbatim what they say, I mean, at face value, a lot of what this lady is saying is true.
Down to a like propaganda war, like we just inculcate our children before they do. Is that where the battle lies?
I think because the war they wage is totalitarian and total.
But ours,
And
where do we
ours,
meet them?
well, we have to meet, ours has to be total too. It has to be where they fight us with ideas, we fight them with ideas. Where they
Well, Susie says, I just hate this negativity. Well, I would say this. The world is not, the world is unexpected, and you know, each day is different, and some days you're going to see things you like and things you don't like throughout every day. And hey, you came into the chat and you started, you know, poking around, and you're hearing things you may like or dislike. That's part of life. You know, you should be okay with it. You're an adult, I'm assuming. And as an adult, you gotta roll with life. Life isn't always fair. You know what I mean? So you gotta learn how to do that. Be responsible for yourself and take it for what it is. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's not what you want to hear. Maybe it's a good thing. A lot of times when we hear things we don't want to hear, that's the purpose of free speech, isn't it? It's to hear things you don't want to hear. You know, if we don't need free speech, if you're always going to hear things you want to hear, there's no need for the freedom of speech. You know, I would take, when you hear things you don't want to hear, take it as a moment where you're like, oh, okay, that's freedom of speech at work. And what can I gain from that?
fight us with subversive means, we recognize that and we dismantle this infrastructure.
Maybe talk to your fellow Muslims about it, you know, and learn from it. Hey, is this true? Is this in the book of Surah or whatever? You know, like, go figure it out. Go figure out, like, hey, is this really what we believe in? Or is this in our religion? Or are we just choosing not to listen to that part of that book? I think it's a good discovery, you know, moment of discovery for yourself. I'm not telling you to change your religion or whatever, but I'm all about dialogue on my channel, so we want to talk about it and learn from it. Discovery. That's literally the headline of my channel. And I'll show you what I mean right here. You can see it right here. You see what it says on the top of my channel? Real Discovery Live. That's all it is. We're learning and listening and talking to each other, and we're discovering stuff. That's what it is. So.
And kick them out of.
And to be honest, you don't do much discovery if you go into a place that is saying all of the same things that you want to hear and that you're saying. That's called an echo chamber. if you're in an echo chamber, to be honest, you're not doing a lot of discovery. And on my channel, if you notice, we have a lot of different views that come into the chat. And that's the whole point of it. KT is a good example of it. Right now, KT just responded in the chat. I'm looking at his chat. And he was, the other day, he came online and he went live. And actually, Susie, you can go live. If you want to call in, you could call in and speak. I'll let you have a voice. I'll let you have a microphone to speak to the world. Just like KT the GOAT did. KT called in and he disagrees with me. You know?
That's amazing. What the?
And he was like, what the?
What the?
And I was like, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
You know? And then he said, you know, some things. And I said, are you out of your cotton picking mind?
Are you out of your cotton picking mind?
And we disagreed. And it's okay. But he's back because he's an adult, man. Like, and he wants to have dialogue, and he doesn't want to be in an echo chamber. And he has things to tell us. Just like we have things to tell him. And we'll keep telling him, and I'm sure he's going to keep telling us. And I'm good with it, bro. I'm good with it. And that's how it goes. Susie, if you want to call in. I got a phone number. And we got a Discord you can call in. But we have a lot of members that are opposing sides. And that's the whole point of this live stream. Anybody wants to call in, I now have a phone number you can call in, or you can join, go to the Discord link and call in that way as well. Let me know.
Of the country, we have those tools, we have these possibilities. We can't just let them spread. And this, again, we did the same to communists. We watched as communists grew and as they were subverting our societies, and we took the appropriate measures against individuals, against groups, and so on, but always with due process and always within the limits of the Constitution. But we can't, again, I repeat, the Constitution.
Random, I got a Google number, bro. So I got a little Google number. If you guys want to call in, you could use that number if you don't want to use Discord.
The Constitution is not a suicidal pact.
Hi. So how do we educate against totalitarianism in general? And how do we educate people against like this victimhood mentality, which we see in broader terms? And how do we get to find more people like you? Like, can we re-educate more people? And how could we do that?
Through citizenship, through responsibility, we give individuals responsibility. We should hold individuals accountable. If you want to bring about an Islamist nation here, and if you're shouting from the rooftops that America should become Islamic, we should be able, through education, through schools and the media and every other form of communication, teach young people.
Oh, truth is on? Sorry, bro. My bad. Holy cow.
What exactly?
Holy cow, dude. I'm sorry, dude. Holy smokes. What's up, dude? Hang on. Let me get you on there. Try and speak real quick.
I am here.
There you go, bro. You are live, bro. You're live. What's happening, dude? How you been?
Oh, no, nothing much.
Dude, I love what you said about how you raise your daughter, not coddling her and giving her the 5 minutes of time to figure out your own problems.
Yep, and an hour a day, I put her in the living room, and she's got like a ball pit and all her toys in there, and I leave, and unless she has been screaming for more than 10 minutes, I leave her alone and ignore her. That she has an hour a day of personal time.
Wow.
And that personal time is when she figured out how to walk. That personal time when she figured out how to, play with certain things, when she figured out how to feed herself, because I'll just leave her in there with food sometimes too. That personal hour, it's amazing. Babies' brains are like sponges. They watch you do things, and when you're not there to do it for them, they emulate your actions.
Wow. Wow, bro. Can you explain that one more time for people that may not have been paying attention? The 1 hour?
Oh, I give her an hour a day of I call it her personal time.
And you hold
Where
on,
I'll
just
pick
to
her-
just to put context to it. You have a 1-year-old daughter that you're raising on your own as a single father, correct?
Yes, and I
Okay.
have been since April, and she just turned 1 a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
So for that entire time, she's been getting an hour a day of personal time. And that's where she hit all her milestones. Like once I saw her hit them on her own, I was able to encourage that and get her to do better at it and more at it. But she didn't hit any of those milestones while I was like directly involved or pushing her to do them.
Wow. That's awesome, dude. That's insane. I'll be honest, I have never heard of this before, and I really like it. That's pretty
Look up
cool.
the French parenting method. What I'm doing is kind of a hybridized version of the French parenting method.
French parenting method. Let's see here. Let me plug this in. I have it on the screen now. It says French parenting emphasizes structure, discipline, and clear boundaries within a loving framework, which fosters patience, self-control, and independence in children. Key aspects include establishing a cater, or framework expectations, teaching patience through waiting and self-soothing, and maintaining a balance between parental roles and family life rather than making the child center of attention. Huh.
Which,
I like
yeah,
that.
like I don't fully do that, but I do, like I was saying, a hybridized version because obviously there's still times when she's going to be the center of everything because she's a baby. And I'm not going to go all extreme with it. It's good for her to know that or think that she's special sometimes.
Of course, dude. Yeah, 100%. That's a trip, man. So you're saying in that hour that you give her, is that an hour a day?
Yeah, it's an hour a day. She sits in the living room. She doesn't sit anymore. She walks around, but she's got a ball pit, like a little princess play tent, her little piano thing, a whole bunch of her stuffed animals, and a little dog thing that she walks around with, and some blankets. And I got like it's like a high chair without the chair. It's more like like how you have a countertop. It's like a
Yep.
baby countertop where it's got little different cubbies in it, and I can put food in the different little spots, like the little Baby Bell cheese things, or some grapes or strawberries, things like that. Maybe I'll put some like fried rice or some eggs and some sausage or some like ground beef in there, and she'll sit there chowing down on it while she plays.
Wow. I love that, bro. That is awesome.
And then when
she
the
learned
hour's up, I usually take her to the park or take her to go like a tennis court or something, because she's got her little, the kids' bikes that they scoot around on where they just use their feet.
Yep.
She got one of those, so I'll take her to like a tennis court because it's open and flat, and let her scoot around in there.
Right on, dude. That's awesome. That's awesome, dude. Hell yeah. I love that, dude. I'm gonna talk to Miss Medication about this because we want to have kids next year. So
You guys need to hurry up on that.
I know, dude. I know we're lagging, dude. I already got the grays coming in, and
no.
oh,
you don't
man.
want to be the grandpa dad.
I'm gonna be, bro, unfortunately, but it's okay. I'm young at heart, dude. I'm young at heart, so we'll have fun with it.
And you got your
know?
peptide, so that'll give you some of them Asian genes, hopefully, for a bit.
There you go, baby. Yeah, I got I got the peptides, and I gym it up 4 days a week. So hopefully
That's
I can be around and be strong for them. Yeah. So tell me, what else, bro? What else is on your mind? You doing peptides now? What peptides you doing? Can we talk about peptides online?
I have been for a while, but I had to take.
Are we? Sorry to interrupt you. Are we allowed to talk about peptides online?
Yeah, peptides are legal. They're just
Okay.
there's like, you can go on YouTube and find like 6-8 hour long videos about them. Even I can't remember what that guy's name is off the top of my head. That guy that's always criticizing people's working out. He got in trouble for selling steroids in Canada a long time ago.
So what peptides you doing, bro?
C-Max, Salonk, and BPC.
BPC, I know what that is. I'm on that right now.
You said you're
What's
on Wolverine, which is a BPC TB500 combo,
I
right?
was on Wolverine, but I just finished the Wolverine. I'm on my BPC that I've had before the Wolverine. Yeah,
Okay.
so I was on BPC first, then I stopped BPC to take Wolverine because Wolverine has BPC. Now I'm back to BPC.
My opinion, the BPC works best because I just take it to keep my joints healthy. I got rough joints from wrestling and football in the Navy.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right. You wrestled like I did.
Yeah.
Nice. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
and then
Hell yeah,
I
bro.
fought some too, and my joints are jacked.
Nice, dude. Well, not the joints, but the fighting.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. S Saint and B just said peptides and Typods, hell of a stack.
But what's the C-Max you said?
So C-Max, let me see if I always get C-Max and Salonk mixed up, but I think the C-Max, it's like a mood and emotion stabilizer. It helps you kind of just chill and focus.
I didn't know there was a
And
mental peptide.
that paired with the Salonk increases GABA production, which increases like neuroplasticity and new neuron production and the development of synapses, which just helps with memory retention and recall and focus.
So you're gonna be the next Charlie Kirk.
I hope not.
No, not in that sense, but mentally, like how he was quick, you know?
Yeah. I'm hoping to
And
undo
able to recall that all that information he read in those books, bro. That was insane. I wish,
when I
bro.
was a kid, I had an extremely good memory. I got tested to see if I had photographic memory. I didn't. I just had near perfect recall. And
Wow.
then I made a bunch of mistakes as a teenager. I popped a lot of pills when I was a teenager.
Oh, geez.
But I've been sober for 8 years now, and I probably had somewhere between 25, 30 concussions. That did a doozy on my brain. And hoping these peptides can kind of help kickstart everything for me.
Wow, good man. I'm glad to hear you're doing that and working on it and sober. You said 8 years now.
Well, yeah, and then I stopped drinking 3 years ago.
Wow, good. What a guy, bro. Holy smokes, that's the hard one, dude.
Because it's just everywhere. And then I was in the Navy too, so that made it real easy to drink.
Bro, I heard about you Navy guys, bro. You guys are on another level.
There's stories. There's one night in Greece we were doing beer towers. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
No.
So beer tower, we set up like tables, and you drink a beer. Once it's empty, you put it down. You make pyramids.
Oh yeah,
And then,
yeah. I've heard of this. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you, at a certain point, you got your empty beer cans and you throw them at the other team's tower and try and knock their beer tower over. It's a good game.
Yeah.
But I killed 42 beers that night, and I don't remember what happened, but somehow I made it back on the boat. Alcohol's not allowed on the boat. I woke up with 2 beers in my pocket and I half drank one in my hand.
Oh my god, bro.
They have metal detectors and security, so I don't know how I got on that boat.
Damn, bro. I don't know how
And the people I went off with, I didn't come back on with, so nobody knows how I got on the boat.
Nobody knows, including yourself, bro. It's a mystery to this day. Crazy, man. Crazy, dude. Right on, right on.
Yeah.
So,
but being sober is nice. I found like a certain amount of peace in it. Just being present in life.
I'm not like I don't consider myself I'd never considered myself an alcoholic, although I could drink. But I did stop drinking since Charlie Kirk died, as you probably know if you've been listening to me. And I'm still adjusting to that. Yesterday I went to a surprise birthday party for a good friend of mine, and everyone was drinking but me. And it's one of those things, man. Shots, beers, everything under the sun is there, and I'm just cruising with a Coke in my hand.
Yeah, it
Coca-Cola.
definitely gets a bit awkward, and I've definitely been socializing a lot less because when everybody else is drinking, it just kind of feels weird to be the sober one, and you see how dumb everybody's acting.
You want me to tell you a little secret? This camera, bro. You've seen my camera. I take my camera now with me, and I just kind of become a photographer, bro. I start taking pictures while people are hanging out. But I'm also very social, so I talk a lot with my friends. But I also stay entertained in those moments when I'm like, man, I'd like a beer right now. I'll grab my camera and just start taking pictures.
That's good. You have a good coping mechanism and a good way to deal with that.
Yeah, it's cool. I literally just hang this bad boy off my neck, and I'm walking around, and people love it because I get badass pictures. And people get way more pictures of themselves, so they love that shit. But not drinking, dude, has done wonders for not only my gut, because whenever I drink, my gut hates it the next day, and also clarity, man. Just fucking clarity is phenomenal without drinking.
Yeah, not drinking is the easiest way to get off the Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, exactly, bro. That's what I'm saying. My stomach, bro, just hates me the day after I drink. And I know for everyone's mileage may vary, but mine was just like, dude, why'd you go drink? And so I just it just wasn't fun, bro. And it jacks up my whole rhythm for like a whole day and a half, and I hated it. Now,
old man.
I know, bro. I know.
I've still never had a hangover, but I hopefully never will now.
Wow,
I
what a
quit
guy.
drinking when I drank for 10 years, but I quit when I was like, what was that? Almost 24.
Holy cow. So that's good that you quit so young.
Yeah. No, before I did too much damage. What did the damage is, I guess it's a long time ago now. When I was in high school, I was on my own since I was 15. My parents had an interesting philosophy on parenting, we'll put it that way. But in that, I found I grew up around a bunch of rich kids, so I discovered pills at an early age, and the Xanax and Oxy and Percocet and Adderall were a heavy part of my life for a long time. So that does a lot more damage to the brain than anything else.
Yeah, I fortunately never fell into that. I think that's something that came after it's like a generational thing. It's after my generation.
Yeah, you got lucky there.
I did. I got lucky with that. Although my generation, it was cannabis and drinking mainly, and then it was actually not far. It was like part of my generation actually did hit the pills, but it really hit the next generation after me like insanely, like from the beginning, like in high school, like you said.
You went to high school in the 90s?
I graduated high school in 98.
Okay, so you're a year older than my dad.
Damn, bro. Yeah. Yeah, I am. Holy
But
shit.
he grew up in that same time, and he said that's how it was. He said it was all alcohol, weed, bunch of chew, and steroids.
I never touched steroids because I always had too much muscle. I was afraid to do steroids. I was afraid, so what would happen if I did steroids. I was a strong kid. But I did.
Because that was his way into a D1 scholarship. He ended up playing outside backer in college.
Wow. Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Right
They
on.
didn't use the test for all that.
I wrestled. I played soccer before high school, and then I wrestled in high school. And I was always a tough kid. I was 171 pounds when I was in my weight class. I was 171s and 173s. But no, I never did steroids. But the drinking was prevalent, and it was not as bad, to be honest. I wasn't as bad as the rest. I got lucky, but dude, the pills for the next generation after us and the generations still to this day, has been insane, bro. It's been insane. I know people drink less now, but a lot more pills, man. A lot more pills, and it's like it just puts people in a total, kind of like a comatose kind of a place, right?
Yeah, no, it puts you in an alternate reality. I remember there's times where all of a sudden come back to reality, and I hadn't moved in 2 hours. I'd just been standing in one spot for 2 hours, completely not home. And
Wow.
those kind of things started to scare me, and that's part of the reason I got sober. Is I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on with my life right now.
Wow, bro. Yeah, that's insane. Crazy, man. But dude, it's good that you're sober now. At this age, that's phenomenal, man. And I'm loving being sober myself. I nowadays the longer I go sober, the more turned off I am when I see alcohol. When I see last night on my friend's surprise birthday, somebody, my buddy next to me was taking a shot, and I looked over, and it looked like pure poison to me. I was like, dude.
Yeah, changing your outlook and your mindset on things is more powerful than any class or meeting you could go to. It's all you have to do is just change your perspective. It's like anything in life. It's all about your perspective and how you choose to view it.
The shots look like pure poison to me now, but like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. A nice cold beer when I'm out and about, when I see a nice cold beer, someone having one next to me, I'm like, damn, that looks good.
You don't even have like a beer here and there, because my rule is I will have one beer if I'm out to dinner. Like if I'm at a restaurant, I'll have a beer with my meal.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't yet. Since Charlie Kirk's death, I haven't had even one beer. And I don't know if I will.
I limit it to one.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I can catch a buzz off one beer. I know myself, because I'll go a month without drinking. While I was just kind of being, not in this stage, but not quitting completely. But prior to that, I'll have my moments where I won't drink for a week or 4 weeks or 6 weeks sometimes, and I have that kind of restraint to do that. And
a social drinker.
Yeah, I am way more social drinker. I didn't ever really enjoy drinking at home by myself alone. Once in a while, I'll have a bottle of wine or half a bottle of wine, and it turns into a bottle of wine. But yeah, but in those times when I stop drinking for like a couple weeks, I'll have one beer and I'll catch a buzz, bro. I'm like, holy cow, man, I'm buzzing. I'm feeling good.
That's the danger of good wine, though, is once you get Yamhill Valley, so a lot of good wine. It's an Oregon wine country, and grew up
you
around
cut out a little bit. You were saying, sorry, you cut out. You're saying once you have a good wine,
people that were like vineyard managers and like own vineyards. And when you have the kind of wine those people have access to, it ruins cheap wine for you. So it helps you not drink so much of that.
It does, man. But I'm honestly, bro. I have a wine club that I'm part of right now, and I still haven't turned it off yet. I get 3 bottles of wine every quarter, and I have them I have them right now sitting in the wine. I have a wine fridge, and it's sitting there, bro, waiting. And I'm like, dude, I haven't touched them. And so I have good wine, bro. I have good Belglac. Huh?
Wine's good for you, though. There's no reason you have wine with dinner once a week or once every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe I gotta just not completely cut it. Just learn how to just enjoy a little bit, here and there.
Hey, shut up. Sorry, 1 second. You stupid hound dog, shut up. No.
Random sins, you can have a glass of wine, a beer, but it's hard to open a nice bottle of wine. Random in the chat is telling us it's hard to have
shut up.
I'll just tell you, Random, it's hard for me to open a nice bottle of wine because I have some nice wines, dude, and I have good beer too. It's hard to open a nice bottle of wine and have one glass. And when I drink wine, to be honest, I don't pour large pours. I like to enjoy wine. I pour small pours, and take my time with it. So I don't know. It's hard to have just one glass of good wine. Chasing Bracelet says it's like having one Pringle. Yeah, bro, you can't. You can't, bro. You can't do that. So, dude,
It's like a crime.
It is, bro. So, you were listening to what we're talking about earlier. We talked about welfare and stuff like that. Did you want to talk anything about
Oh,
that?
I got
did you-
words on that.
Yeah, tell me, bro. What do you think?
It's a slippery slope because if you think about it, the same people that are on your EBT are the same people on Medicare. And
Yep.
you can always tell who's got that good old government grocery card at the grocery store because they're the one with their cart full of TV dinners and soda pop and ice cream and donuts and all
Yep.
the hostess type things. And they always have a certain jiggly appearance to them.
Yes, sir, bro. Yes, they do.
Oh, they got high blood pressure, diabetes, heart problems. They probably got a pacemaker. At some point, they're going to need like disability accessibility stuff. So they're going to need their wheelchair. They're going to need their special van. They're going to need the compression socks and the massages to keep their legs from leaking. It's disgusting. And
man.
that's just a drain. And then on top of that, if you just look at the financial side of it as a nation and as an economy, obese people in general, they have more lost work days. They have a lower longevity, one, due to lifespan, and two, due to just not being able to work anymore at a certain point, which then they're on disability, and that's a whole nother slippery slope. So you got your EBT, your Medicare, now they're on disability with EBT and Medicare.
Yep.
And guess who's paying for all of that?
What about Section 8?
Section 8, otherwise known as I chose to get a useless college degree and work at Starbucks because I wanted a feel-good degree instead of going to trade school or getting a degree in something useful.
Section 8 housing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Those people, they didn't make wise life decisions, and there's options. Hey, the option is, you want to be in Section 8 housing, you got a year, and in that year you need to show progress. You need to show that you're going to school, you're doing something to advance yourself out of that position,
Yeah.
because that's not a permanent thing. None of these government programs are meant to be permanent. They're all meant to be temporary. They're all meant to be a transitional thing where it helps you get from a point of failure and a point of lack of success to a point of success. And
Yep.
if people aren't forced to utilize it as a transitional thing and they're allowed to utilize it as a permanent thing, then it becomes a problem. Because it is valuable as a temporary thing.
Dude, I'm gonna try to add something here. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna try to go to this screen right here and give me 1 second.
To preface this, I don't beat my dogs, but sometimes they tempt me.
There we go. Okay, so we got a different screen. I put a different screen up so they can see that. Yeah, so that's the thing, bro. When you get stuck on the government's tit, and when you get a taste of the government's tit, it's hard to get your life together without it. People get stuck on it, bro. They get accustomed to it, like that guy says in the video. Maybe I should play that video again.
It's an addiction. It's no different than being addicted to any other drug.
Let me play this real quick. Let me play this video. Let me go back. Whoa. Let me go back to chat, bro. Random was saying if you have 2 small glasses, that's equal to one regular glass. STBE says quitters never win. Oh man. And Random says the people in Section 8 don't have degrees.
Some of them do. I can say this because I'm probably about 6 months away from being able to buy a house. Washington's ridiculously expensive. It's catching up with California, but the people in the apartment complex next to mine, half of them have college degrees because I see them at the dog park. And they're all in Section 8 because their college degree some of them have engineering degrees, but for example, engineering, they have a expected growth rate in the industry of 4,000 jobs a year. But there's somewhere between I can't remember exactly. It's somewhere between 8 and 12,000 people graduating with engineering degrees every year. So they're doubling to tripling the growth rate of the industry in that same time period. So it's even as a real life example, my grandpa used to do bidding for a pretty big electrical company. And when they were building a Fujitsu plant, they actually laid off their engineers years before that and went to contracting. But they had 2 18-month-long engineering contracts available. They had 4,000 people apply for 2 positions.
Wow.
And that wasn't even for a job. That was for a contract, an 18-month contract.
Wow, bro, that's crazy. Dude, Eric M in the chat says, Medi, there are now stats out from the medical field that there are fewer mental health issues from those that go out and drink compared to now with the lack of social connection ages 18 to 30. Here's Eric brings up a good point. Eric said he's watching from, I think he said Georgia or something. Eric, bro, Atlanta, sorry. And so I used to always say, if you're not a drinker, what's up? Something's wrong. What's going on with you, bro? You know, something else is going on. There's a bigger problem, you know? But I don't know. I just, after Charlie Kirk died, and I know that Donald Trump, doesn't drink or never did drink, and Charlie Kirk didn't drink. I was like, you know what? Let me give it a try. And
Well, that's for that 18 to 30 age range, which you're well outside of that.
I'm outside of that. That is true. Good point. Yeah, I keep forgetting, bro. I do forget.
For
Thanks
me, my time in life, I wouldn't have much of a social life either way. I'm a single dad with a daughter, and I work. I get 2 days off a month normally because I'm trying to save money, buy a house.
Awesome, bro. I love to hear that. It's, you know what, you put in the time now, and then you can reap the benefits later.
Exactly. She's not gonna. I can take pictures of the activities I took her to a kangaroo farm the other day, and she got to play with wallabies and kangaroos, and she had a great time. But she's not gonna remember any of that.
No, bro. The pictures are good, like you said, and doing what you're doing, it's the way to go. You hunker down, you lock in for a little while, and then you can reap the benefits later. I'm a perfect example of it, man. I locked in. I worked for other people my whole life, and as you know my story, bro. I worked 9 to 5 for other people, or 9 to 6, 9 to 7. And then after I got off work, I worked all the way till 2 or 3 a.m. trying to create businesses that would become profitable. I failed doing that for many years. But finally, I was able to get some success with some businesses that I created after work,
Yeah.
And so the saying goes, your 9 to 5 should pay for your 5 to 9. Which in my case was, 5 to 2 or 3 a.m. And your 5 to 9 should pay for your 24/7. Why? Because your 5 to 9 ends up making more money than your 9 to 5. And then when you own your own business, in the end, you're working 24/7. So, and your whole life.
I agree
it pays
with
for your
that
whole
in
life.
certain situations. In
Yeah.
my situation, with my job,
Yeah.
I make well over enough money to not need that second job or that second business or second income stream. So I use my day job to right now save money, but generally speaking, I've always used it to pay for my hobbies.
Nice. So now
Which is
you
breeding
switch that up.
reptiles. And then breeding reptiles, you don't really make any money on that. They pay eventually when you get to a certain point, the hobby pays for itself.
Yeah.
But like a lot of my coworkers, they make anywhere from 280 to 300 grand a year.
Nice.
And I'm only in my
Solid.
second year, and last year I made 140 as
Solid, bro.
my first year. and then this year is going to be higher because we're making $15 an hour more.
Phenomenal, bro. Dude, that's incredible. Love that,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, for me, I always wanted to create my own income, stream, my own business where, I run the show and that, I could have no ceiling to what I could make, that kind of a thing. I came from an entrepreneurial family and, it's one of these things that you get in your head, bro. And when this is what I got to do. I got to do this. I got to do this. And I was always just dead set on it. I kept doing
You
it.
could always just say you're Persian.
Yeah, I don't want to trigger all the lefties in the chat, bro. But yeah, I guess my Persian background kicked in and has been going ever since. And it's like, dude, I gotta find a way to make my own business and make some money, bro. Let's go.
The same way there's the stereotype about Asians and engineering and doctor's degrees, it's Persians and entrepreneurship.
You said it, bro. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely, and I grew up with it. My parents are a good example. My aunts and uncles. It's almost like I'd be a failure if I didn't figure out how to do that myself. It's a weird thing. So, Eric says, Medi, doctors are saying that they will be prescribing people with mental health issues or depression prescriptions to join a social club or sports club to get more real human connection.
About time. I hope that's true.
Yeah, it's about time, dude. About time.
Or get a job, a real job.
Yep.
There's no better social interaction than working on airplanes with a bunch of ingrates that can't finish a sentence without a 4-letter word.
Yeah, well, I think another reality to what Eric is saying is getting out there and making human connections is another way to guarantee yourself some kind of a job down the line, because a lot of the jobs we get we get from who we know.
Yep, that's how I got my job now.
There you
was
go.
A guy I met on a river. I was fly fishing and I ran into a guy on the river and I was chatting with him.
There you go.
That's how I ended up where I am now. I didn't even have to do my interview. He was one of the interviewers for the company I work at, and he goes, "Yeah, no, put an application in, CC me on the email, gave me his business card, and I got a straight shot through."
That's what I'm saying, bro. 90, dude. I'm not gonna say 90. I don't know the percentages on these stats. I'll learn maybe one of these Thomas Sowell books that I'm reading, bro. We'll see. But a major way that people find jobs is through the people they know, their family, their friends, their social connections. So I think there's a lot to be said about that. Let me put this video on because we talked about welfares. Let me put this back. You saw this already, but for those that are just joining.
The food stamps program is administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They proudly report that they distribute free meals and food stamps to 46 million people on an annual basis. Meanwhile, the National Park Service, ran by the U.S. Department of Interior, ask us to please do not feed the animals when we visit the parks. Their stated reason for this policy is being that the animals will grow accustomed and dependent on the handouts, and they will never learn to take care of themselves.
And I love how the dude's he's casting his line as he's saying that, bro. It's awesome. Yeah, love that video.
And on that whole welfare thing, if you look at other countries with heavy welfare programs, there's nothing good that comes from it, because there's an old saying that idle hands are the devil's playground or something like that.
I've never heard it, but I get it. Yeah.
My great grandpa used to say it. I'm probably messing it up a little bit, but he used to say something like it all the time. And it pretty much means boredom breeds, you have too much time on your hands. In a Christian perspective, it allows the devil to, tempt you and play with your mind and pull you different directions.
You're thinking too much and you're not doing enough. You gotta do more doing, bro. More creating, man. That's what it is. And so people have too much time on their hands end up in trouble. They get themselves in trouble. They do dumb shit. They get bad habits, and it only keeps getting worse. And I have a clip that I made on Instagram about a little bit about that too. Let me see if I can find this thing here. Where are we at here? Damn. Sometimes I scroll and I'm like, dude, did I make this many reels? Holy cow. Jesus. What was
You
I
gotta make
doing?
one or two a day.
What's that?
You gotta make one or two a day.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Look at this.
Just do a thing.
Yes.
That's it. Anything. It doesn't matter. Especially if you don't know what to do, because anything is better than no thing.
Yes.
Perfectionism is procrastination masquerading as quality control, right?
Mm.
So they decide, I'm not going to do a thing until I know exactly the direction that I'm going to go in.
Right.
And that means that no step is useful until I know the end goal that I'm going to get to. But what they don't understand is that any commitment that you make is a step in the right direction. Peterson's got one of these rules where he says, commit yourself to one thing as hard as you can and see what happens, right? Like, just write a blog post once a day for 2 months. See what happens, right? Even if blogging turns out you suck at it, and you hate it, and it doesn't end up getting any traction, and it gives you no sense of joy or whatever. What you've learned there is that you can do a thing every single day for 2 months.
It's a vehicle for developing your human potential.
Yes. Just do...
Just do something, bro.
Yeah.
Were you able to hear that?
No, but I know which one you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Damn,
on your live, you've played enough of your reels at this point. I had a feeling I knew which one you were going to.
Just do a thing. Doesn't matter. Anything is, it's that one. Yep. And then Jen in the chat says, everyone said the future was coding, but AI can code faster than any human. At this point, masons, plumbers, carpenters, electricians, painters are irreplaceable. I totally agree.
Yep. Perfect example. One of the guys, my dad does tile and stone. And one of the guys he just finished a job for, the dude owns, like video games, how they got the backgrounds and all the stuff nobody cares about.
Yeah.
But it's still like essential. He has a company where they code a lot of that stuff for different companies because companies will contract it out. He used to have 33 employees. He has 2 employees now and completes 4 times the workload because he has like 3 or 4 employees that manage the AI.
Wow.
That are doing all the coding.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what it is, dude. Yeah, but who was it? Jen. What Jen was saying, all those fields. Not only, in my opinion, bro, there's so much potential to getting into any of these fields. Mason, plumbers, carpenters, electricians, painters. They're all those fields are irreplaceable. And not only are they irreplaceable. Go ahead.
The tree trimmers and linesmen. Nobody understands how much money those guys make. The linesmen, they can make $500,000 a year.
Oh, I know. I have a buddy of mine that's a lineman. They make crazy money. It's crazy what they do, but they make crazy money.
Yeah. Like my brother right now, he's a tree trimmer because he likes it. Yep. But he's eventually going to go line side once his body breaks down. And he does the high power clearance tree trimming, absolutely loves it. He's making like $4,000 a week as a 21-year-old. Wait, no, 23-year-old.
Wow. That's phenomenal, bro. What I was gonna say about
the other, out and climbs trees with a chainsaw every day. That's like every teenage boy's dream.
It's a beautiful thing, and their biceps are huge, by the way.
Their shoulders, not their biceps. It's the shoulders and forearms. They look like Popeye.
I don't know. One dude that was a tree trimmer that does what you said. He was. I remember I was at a party at 4th of July, bro, and the dude literally sat at a table and took down every dude in that entire 4th of July party.
It's the shoulders and forearms. They're wicked. They're out there one arm and chainsaws all day.
We're like, dude, and he's like this little guy. I was like, holy shit, bro! He took everyone down. It was crazy.
My brother's 6'1". He weighs 170 pounds, and I don't know too many people stronger than him.
There you go. There you go. Dude, but I was gonna say there's also massive potential to these businesses that Jen just mentioned. All these
Yeah.
things, you could go be a plumber, you could be an electrician, you could be any of these positions, and do it yourself, but also train people under you.
And there's an extremely high demand for them right now. You can pretty much apply for an apprenticeship and you're guaranteed a spot.
Dude, I literally I was in the process of creating a plumbing company, and I had a guy that was gonna, that was a license holder, that was gonna be the guy that I was partnering with to do this, and the guy it just didn't end up working out. But I'm down to start a company right now doing one of those things. I want another business in one of these fields. I prefer plumbing, but I'm down with any of them. So if anybody's listening to this and you want to start a one of these types of businesses with me, let me know.
You want a good one? Septic.
Yeah. That's plumbing.
But no, it's not exactly like septic work. Like the people that go and clean up and install and fix septic tanks, there's crazy money there. It costs like 25 grand to get a septic tank put in if you go with a cheap one.
Well,
There's some of them that are like $50,000 to $75,000.
That depends on location too. Out here in SoCal, we don't have a lot of septic tanks.
If you're outside the city a little bit.
Yeah, you got to go outside.
Yeah.
I'm looking to develop something here in the city that I can grow, because a lot of the other stuff, a lot of the operating the business, marketing the business, developing all the systems for the business, all of that stuff I'm good at. And I've already done for my businesses. A lot of construction I've done throughout my whole life. So I understand a lot of, anything related to construction. My uncles have owned construction companies, still own them. I've been in and out of construction business my whole life. My parents have owned properties that I had to manage my whole life. So stuff like that I've done, you know what I mean? But as far as actually having one of those businesses myself, I haven't done yet. And I'd love to do that. So,
you should definitely do it, because once you get it up and going, it's easy.
Yeah. And I could market the hell out of it. I know how to do all the other stuff for it.
The only thing, if you want good employees, take care of them, and it's easy.
Of course.
You said your family owned those businesses. The happiest and like most productive construction crews, because growing up, my dad was in construction, so I was around it. The boss that brings pizza twice a week, Costco pizza for $10 a pizza, super cheap.
Yep.
And that's the happiest, most productive crew ever. And they have barely any defects because they're not screwing up, because they're, good morale. And all boss had to do was spend $30 on pizza.
Yep. It's Costco pizza, bro. So it's all that's a no-brainer. But more importantly, bro, there's a lot of other strategies. Dude, there's a lot of companies that pay good people, a certain amount that, if you pay those people a little bit more and take care of them and help them grow more.
Describe capitalism.
There you go. Exactly, bro. Pay them a little bit more and take care of them. They want to grow, bro. Everybody wants to grow. Help other people grow, and they'll be with you forever. It's very simple, bro. It's not brain surgery, man. It's really not. Yeah. Help people grow and be a catalyst for their growth, and figure out a lot of people want different things. Help them, get to where they want to go, and you're gonna do real well, man. And that.
Yep. Help people achieve their dreams, and they'll help you achieve.
Absolutely. And they become partners for life.
Yeah.
100%. Right on, man. Well, dude, thanks for calling. I got to go hit the gym before I go to my doctor's appointment, and then come back for another live stream.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've been driving the past 10 minutes. I got a date.
Nice, dude. Right on. Hell yeah.
Have fun at the gym. I went this morning after work.
Yeah, a little mistruth.
Absolutely not.
No, okay.
We'll see.
Hopefully she's not listening.
These ladies in Washington got 3 screws loose, and none of them sticking together.
Oh my God, bro. Well, go, dude. Go have a good time. You know, do your thing,
Yeah.
and then
See you later.
I'll catch you maybe on the evening stream. See you, dude. Good talk. Later.
Good talking.
All right, dude. That was a good talk, guys. We are now what 2:20 Pacific time, and I'm gonna see if I can squeeze into my workout, man. That's gonna be tough. Maybe I gotta go to the gym after. Holy cow, guys! Thanks for joining. Man, you came in late, but Eric, Bracelet, everyone, dude, I'm losing my voice. Holy cow! That was a good one. We had a little bit of everything today. But Jay Cricket, what's up? Min. State Line, thank you. Eric, Chasing, Slim. Hell yeah. James. Random. Dude, thank you guys, bro. That was fun. Good stuff, guys. I'm gonna go handle my stuff, and I'll come back later. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your day, and hopefully catch you guys later.